So we're going to do long division with polynomials. Okay. Now hopefully all of you remembered how to do the long division with just numbers, what we did with arithmetic. Polynomial long division is exactly the same thing, except a little more complicated because now we're using variables are involved in there and powers instead. So you gotta love the jokes that show up every once in a while. Okay, pretty corny, but it's all right. Okay, so this is all we're gonna do today, is we're gonna do long division. Okay, you're going to have a few more of those multiplication problems to do, and a chance to use Caitlin's method of expanding if you want. But the new thing we're going to learn today is just long division, okay? Because that's enough for some people. So, okay. So first of all, when we do long division, let's look at my numbers over here. First of all, where I'm going to divide 3,578 by 25. How do I write that for long division? What do I do? Okay, so we need since we're dividing by 25, 25 has to go on the outside here and 3,578 on the inside, right? Okay. Do they have specific names? Okay, the divisor and the dividend. Okay, which one's which? The dividend is underneath. Let's check to make sure. Let's go up here because they're always nice about this. Okay, they tell us. All right. So the dividend, yes, it goes underneath the division sign. The divisor is on the outside, and my answer is called a quotient. And then we have a remainder, anything we have when we're all done. And that remainder is going to be important for many things that we do in this chapter, because we're going to focus on that quite a little bit. That's going to be the least of our focus right now, but that's something to be able to understand that when this number, if it's a 0 or not a 0, is going to make a difference as we're going along. But okay, so we've got our dividend and our divisor. So what do we do? Okay, 25. Well, first we look at the 3, though, right? Okay, can 25 go into 3? No, of course. So we go to the 35. Okay, and how many times does 25 go into 35? Once. Okay, so we put a 1 over the 5 here, right? Okay, we don't put it way down to the end. We put it over the 5. Okay, and then what do we do with it? Okay, we multiply, right? And then subtract. So 1 times 25 is 25. And then we subtract that, and we get 10. Okay, what happens after that then? All right, bring down the 7. Okay, so we're going to look at the polynomial division now before we go any further. First of all, when you're doing polynomial long division, it must be written in standard form. Okay, so if you look at our dividend in this case, because we have our dividend divided by our divisor, okay, is the dividend in standard form? No. Okay, so we're going to have to write it in standard form when we put it underneath the divisor sign. Okay, so we have y minus 3 is going to go on the outside of the symbol. And then underneath, we're going to put this in standard form. But not only that, if a term is missing, okay, because it's missing the y, right? It goes y cubed, y squared, but then there's no y to the first power. So if it's missing a term, then you have to put a 0 in with that, because we need that place value, basically. Now with polynomial long division, we're basically going to do the same thing here. We said, okay, how many times is 25 going to 35? And we found 1. Okay. In this case, we're always going to focus on just the first term of our divisor and the first term of our dividend. Okay. And we're going to divide with them. Okay. So what is 2y cubed divided by y? Right? So we're talking about this. 2y cubed divided by y. Okay, that's 2y squared. So we will take and put 2y squared, and we're going to put it over the y squared term. I want to keep my terms lined up. Okay. So after we put this 1 up here over the 35, what did I do with the 1? Okay, multiplied it by 25. So then now I'm going to take 2y squared, and I'm going to multiply it by this whole thing. Okay, not just the y, but I'm going to multiply it by the whole thing. So we have 2y squared times y is 2y cubed. Those should always be the same. Okay, if they're not the same, you made a mistake. All right. And then 2y cubed times negative 3 is negative 6y squared. Okay. So we multiplied 1 times 25. We got 25 here. And then what did I do? We subtracted. Okay. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to subtract. Well, what happens when I subtract a polynomial? What am I supposed to do? Subtract. We have to do what? Subtract the like terms. Okay, that's true. But what else happens? You have to change all the signs. Remember, because we would say this. Okay. Subtracting that quantity, right? Which means when I distribute that negative sign, it changes this 2y cubed to a minus and the 6y squared to a positive. So this becomes a negative and that becomes a positive. So we get 2y cubed minus 2y cubed is 0. And negative y squared plus 6y squared is 5y squared. All right. So when we subtract a polynomial, we have to remember to change the signs. Okay. And just like we did over there, then we're going to bring down the next term, which is 0y. Okay, so let's go back over to our arithmetic one then. Okay. I'm now at 107. What do I do now? Okay. How many times does 25 go into 107? Okay, it goes in there 4 times. All right. So I put my 4 over the 7, multiply them together to get 100, and then we subtract. And bring down the next number. Oops. So now we're going to, over here then, with our polynomial, we are going to focus on this 5y squared with the y. So what's 5y squared divided by y? Okay, 5y squared divided by y is 5y. So we have plus 5y. So then just like we multiplied 4 times 25 to get 100, we're going to multiply 5y times this whole quantity. Okay? Not just the first term, but both parts. So these should always be the same. Okay, 5y times y is 5y squared. And 5y times negative 3 is negative 15y. And then just like we subtracted the 100, we're going to subtract here. And when we subtract a polynomial, we change the signs. So this becomes negative, and that one becomes positive. So we get 0. 0 plus 15 is 15y. and then we bring down 25. All right, so let's finish our arithmetic one. How many times does 25 go into 78? Okay, 3 times. So we have 3 here. 3 times 25 is 75. We subtract, and we get a remainder of 3, right? That means it doesn't go in evenly, correct? Okay. So when I write how do I write the remainder then? Okay. Depends on what they want, right? Okay. Sometimes they want you just to say this would be R3. Okay. When we're doing it, we're going to write it as a fraction. Okay. Because now I have 3 remaining out of 25. So this would be 143 and 3/25. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing with the polynomials. So we're focusing here. 15y. So how many times does y go into 15y? Or what's 15y divided by y? 15. Okay. So we add 15 up here. 15 times y is 15y. And 15 times -3 is -45. So after multiplying, we always subtract. When we subtract the polynomials, we change the signs. So this is a 0, and 25 plus 45 is 70. So it doesn't go into it evenly, does it? Okay. And so then we will say, so my answer then would be 2y squared plus 5y plus 15 plus 70 over y minus 3. Now, how would I check to see if I was right with my arithmetic one? Do what, Brooke? Okay. Times this also, right? Okay. So we would multiply our quotient, okay, the answer, times the divisor, right? And see if we got the dividend. Okay. And so you can do the same thing with your polynomials. We could take our divisor, multiply it by our quotient we got, and see if we got our dividend. Now it's a little bit tougher, right? Because we're dealing with variables. You actually could use your calculator to check it. And I'm going to show you how to do that. As soon as I find my calculator. See how many things I got to close to get there. All right, so go to your y equals on your calculator. Now, I'm not telling you have to do this. I'm just telling you how you can do it, okay? Right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put in here in y1, come on, move. In y1, we want to put our dividend. Oops. So we're going to put 2y cubed or 2x cubed minus x squared plus 25. And in y2 then, we're going to put in parentheses our divisor, x minus 3. Oops, minus sign there. and then another left parenthesis and put your quotient in there. So 2x squared plus 5x plus 15 plus. Now this is the tough part here, okay? But it's not so much because you have a really, really, really nice calculator, okay? Press alpha and y equals. And yours is going to work and mine's not, probably. Did anything happen when you press alpha y equals? Did you see a screen come up here on top? Okay, there's a fraction bar there, right? Yep, the very first one, it says n over d. Yeah. Okay, n over d is the fraction bar. Okay, do you have that, Elijah, on yours? Okay, yours needs to be updated just like mine does. Okay, so I will update yours at some point in time soon, so you have the fraction stuff there. Okay, all right, but you can do it this way. Plus 70 divided by, and then you have to put in parentheses, okay? X minus 3. And then I have to close the parentheses on my whole thing. Okay. Now, if you have the fraction bar, you don't need the parentheses, okay? All right? So you're going to, you're fine. Yours works. Okay, it'll be all right. Okay? All right. Yes, Brooke. Let me see. Yeah, if you select that top one there, oh, you put yours on the whole thing. Okay, all right, we need to undo that. Yeah, we're gonna. No, let's clear it. Okay, start over again. No, I'll watch you do it. Where's your calculator?
I forgot how to notes here.
Here you go. Yep. Okay, close your, oh, you gotta make sure you have parentheses around that. Okay, and put plus 70, or put plus, okay, now hit your alpha and your y equals. There you go, choose the first one. There you go, then put 70 in the numerator and x minus 3 in the denominator. And then you have to scroll to the right and put a parenthesis.
Yeah, I don't know what alpha and y equals is.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right, so you got the 2x squared plus 5x. You got to put plus 15 first. Okay, now plus and alpha and y equals.
What's right?
Right here. All right, and then choose the very first one. And that gives you the fraction bar. Put 70 in the numerator and x minus 3 in the denominator. Okay. Now, where can I go to check to see if these two things are the same, right? Because that's what I'm checking, right? To see if I get the same result. If by multiplying, do I get my dividend? Okay, where?
Graph.
Graph, okay? The graph is one place we can go. All right. Oh, well, that doesn't tell me. Let's see if anything shows up. I don't anything. Okay, so I'm going to hit zoom 6. Okay, zoom 6 is the standard viewing window. Okay, and let's see. I only see one line. Yours has 2? Okay. Now if I go to my table, all right, they should be exactly the same in the table except for at x equals 3, because at x equals 3 I can't divide by 0. That's the only reason there. But everything else is the same, so they should be the same then. So, Alicia, you must have typed something wrong.
The line 1 when you're on.
Let's see what we get here. Oh, we've got a plus sign here, or a minus sign. Here you go. Yep, one thing to remember when you're typing stuff in the y equals, you need to make sure it's the same. So this, I'm not saying you have to do this, I'm just telling you this is a way that you can check to make sure your answer is correct. Okay? Never a bad thing to do. Okay? All right. Okay, let's look at another one. And then we'll put you to work. All right, so we're going to do this one here. X to the fourth minus 5x plus 10 divided by x plus 3. So the divisor goes on the outside. Dividend goes on the inside. And if we're missing terms, we put in 0. Okay? So we have x to the fourth plus 0x cubed plus 0x squared minus 5x plus 10. Now the question is, can you do it without putting zeros in there? And the answer is yes, but it's very, very complicated then, okay? Because it doesn't flow very well. All right, so just like our arithmetic, x to the fourth divided by x is, okay, x to the third, or x cubed. So I'm going to put x cubed over the x cubed term. And then just like with arithmetic, we're going to multiply. So we get x to the fourth plus 3x cubed. All right, and when we multiply, we're multiplying this by everything here. Okay? Then we subtract. And when we subtract, we change the signs. So we get 0, and 0 minus 3x cubed is negative 3x cubed. Then we bring down the next term. Okay, and we focus on the first ones again. Negative 3x cubed and x. Negative 3x cubed divided by x. Negative 3x squared then. Okay, so this can be a minus 3x squared. After we've determined what that is, then we're going to divide. Or multiply, excuse me. So we get negative 3x cubed minus 9x squared. Okay, negative 3x squared times x, negative 3x squared times 3. Then we will subtract. When we subtract, we change the signs. Negative 3x cubed plus 3x cubed is 0. And 0 plus 9 is 9x squared. Bring down our next term. Okay. Then we divide. 9x squared divided by x, positive 9x. Then we multiply. 9x times 9 times x is 9x squared. 9x times 3 is 27x. Then we subtract. Change the signs. Negative 5x minus 27x is negative 32x. And then we bring down the next term. This is fun, huh? There's lots of times we do division in working with polynomials. And so there's actually two different ways of doing it. Long division is one of them, okay? And when you have more complicated divisors, you have to use long division. And tomorrow we'll talk about something that's called synthetic division, which you will prefer over this immensely, okay? And out of most of my classes, usually everybody would rather do synthetic division, but every once in a while I get a couple of people that would rather do the long division. So, okay. So we finish it up. Negative 32x divided by x is negative 32. Then we multiply. We get negative 32x minus 96. And we subtract and change the signs. So we have a remainder of 106. So I'll say plus 106 over x plus 3.